right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video on a Niner rumor that I read here on Easter Sunday on Twitter. And of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Check them out, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. They're open 7 days a week in Corte Madera from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And check them out in Emeryville as well. They're open Wednesday through Sunday in Emeryville. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Get the brisket. And the brisket chili is the bomb. You're going to love it. All right. Let's talk a little bit about this rumor. I don't know if it's legit or not. NFL notifications at NFL Notify. This is the rumor. It says, rumor, hashtag 49ers are willing to trade quarterback Trey Lance in exchange for a 2023 second and fourth round draft choice, per source. He goes on to say Lance has played just 262 snaps in the last two seasons. San Francisco was ready to move on to the Purdy Darnold era. It's got a picture of Trey with a smiling Kyle Shanahan. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, what's the truth? What's not the truth? I don't know. NFL notifications is following 4,100 people. They have 6,400 followers. Now, if you do go to their site, it says NFL updates for the latest insider information, turn notifications on, so on and so forth. And then pinned to their Twitter is tweets leaked by our sources that have been confirmed. And when you click on that, you see that they have been ahead of other people, Mike Silver and others, on several stories. Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Shane Steichen as the Colts head coach. They had it a week before the official announcement. They've had several reports that have come out before the actual media report has come out. So, guys, I have no idea. If it's a legitimate source or if it's not a legitimate source. I really don't. I do find it interesting, though, and I know you guys probably do as well. And it's definitely newsworthy. It's definitely something that makes you wonder. Now, let's talk about it on its merit and assume for a second that it's credible. What do you think of that price tag? To me, that's kind of right what I would expect. That's right about what I would expect. 2 picks, one being a second-round pick, one being a fourth-round pick. I was suggesting maybe like the Niners, if they were going to move him, would move like Trey and one of those third-round picks and try to get into the back half of the first round for Michael Mayer, the tight end out of Notre Dame, who I think could make the 49ers an incredible team. And the more I've watched the draft, there's other guys that I could see them trading up for as well. Offensive tackle, I don't know. I don't know about offensive tackles. Paris Johnson is tremendous. I don't think you can get high enough up in the draft to get Paris Johnson from Ohio State. I think he's a plug-and-play offensive tackle. But it sounds like they're committed to Colton McKivitz. So what other players would they be interested in? I threw out Emmanuel Forbes because Emmanuel Forbes is sick. We're talking about a big corner with 6 pick sixes and 14 interceptions in 3 seasons. Mississippi State developed some of the best athletes in the nation year after year after year. I mean, think about it. Chris Jones, Mississippi State. Jeffrey Simmons, Mississippi State. There's a lot of really good players coming out of Mississippi State. Montez Sweat, Mississippi State. The state of Mississippi presents a ton of good players to the NFL, both from Ole Miss and from Mississippi State there in Starkville. So I'm a big fan of that program. I'm a big fan of the athletes they get in that program. And Forbes, to me, looks really good. I mean, Forbes looks like a shutdown number 1 corner. So he's intriguing to me. The other guy that's super intriguing the more I watch him is Byron Young. And I'm not talking about Byron Young, the edge rusher from Tennessee. I'm talking about Byron Young, the big defensive lineman for Alabama. I mean, this guy moves incredibly well. For 292 pounds, I think he's fast enough to play defensive end. I think he's bulky enough to play defensive tackle. That guy's crazy good. So I got to think that if they were going to move up, they would move up for either a difference-making offensive player or an edge rusher or a tackle or a corner. That would be my guess. And if you wanted Emmanuel Forbes, he's probably going in the second round. And then if you're getting rid of Trey, you probably want to be able to draft a quarterback in this draft. And I've said it a couple times. I think this draft is a phenomenal quarterback draft after round 1. Tanner McKee. I love Tanner McKee. Jake Hayner, MVP of the Senior Bowl, had a tremendous career at Fresno State. DTR from UCLA, 5-year starter, incredibly athletic. I'm really intrigued by the athleticism of Malik Cunningham from Louisville. Then you look at Max Duggan in the year that he had this year, taking, from being the number 2 quarterback to the national championship game and runner up for the Heisman. Duggan's clearly going to be there in round 4. So the Niners have 3 picks in round 3 at the end of round 3. They also have a couple picks in the 5th round. But that 4th round, I think, is the sweet spot for the quarterbacks. So maybe if you made this move, you get one impact starter, and then you get your replacement for Trey in the 4th. That would be my guess. I still think if I were them, I would want a little bit more. Now, it's funny, everybody's got a different take on this. There's a lot of people who are like, you can't trade Trey Lance, and oh my God, that's not enough. You need more. And then there's other people who are like, he's not worth very much. Well, which is it? Which is it? Is this guy so good that he's going to unseat Brock Purdy, who's basically never lost? Or is he not good and nobody wants him and he's not worth anything? It's like people argue this out of both sides of their mouth on this thing. It's like he's not, some people are arguing Brock Purdy's limited and Trey's got this huge future. And then when you say, yeah, they may trade him, that he's not worth anything. What is it? Is he not worth anything, or does he have a huge future? So I think what's the truth here is that his future is speculative. I have a ton of confidence that he's going to fulfill his potential. I'd be deathly afraid to move him. I've said that over and over and over again. That's why, to me, I don't know if I would be satisfied with a 2nd and a 4th. To me, that's selling a little short, especially when you look at the quarterbacks in this draft. I think Trey Lance is better than basically all of the quarterbacks that are going between the 2nd and 4th round, in my opinion. Definitely his upside, his potential is greater, in my opinion. But who knows? Maybe their opinion is that Max Duggan's going to be a star. Maybe they think Tanner McKee is the next great pocket passer. Maybe they look at DTR as a finished product and it's going to be terrific. Maybe they look at Malik Cunningham and see a scaled down version of Lamar Jackson, and a guy who can really run and played in the exact same program. I don't know. I'm not sure how they view the quarterbacks. There's a lot of good ones, though. Clayton Tune from Houston. Supposedly he's got great intangibles. He's 220 pounds. He's 6'1", had a really good year at Houston. There's just a lot of intriguing quarterbacks in this draft that will not be going in round 1. Hendon Hooker. What if they loved Hendon Hooker? They think Hendon Hooker is who they want in the 2nd round. Who knows? Maybe a 2 and a 4. They feel like they can get Hendon Hooker to replace Trey. Now they've got another cheap quarterback on a rookie deal. I don't know. I can't say that this rumor is nothing, but at the same time, I can't say it's something. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can't sit here and say NFL Notifications has never been right about anything. They do have a blue check mark, but that doesn't mean anything. And that meant something years ago or a couple years ago before you could purchase it, but now it doesn't mean as much. Anybody could do that, but if they have been ahead of several good reporters and several reports, then maybe they've got sources. Maybe it's an ex-NFL employee. Maybe it's somebody who's got some tie to the league. Maybe it's somebody who's got a tie to an agent who spills their guts. We really don't know. So we just got to take it at face value. I'm not saying that this is like, oh, yep, wrap it up. Ryan Hensley's going to owe me lunch and blah, blah, blah. And I'm right, you're wrong. And I'm not there yet. And I'm not, let's make this perfectly clear for the nth time. I'm not rooting for Trey to be traded. I'm predicting Trey to be traded. It's like when you watch the weather tonight and the guy on the local news says, hey, it's going to rain tomorrow. Is he rooting for it to rain tomorrow, or is he predicting it's going to rain tomorrow? And is there a difference? Yes, there's a difference. All right. He's predicting they're going to be rain tomorrow, but he's not rooting for it necessarily. He could be rooting for it, but he's not necessarily rooting for it. And just because I'm predicting Trey to be traded by the Niners, I'm just reading the tea leaves, and I'm an informed Niner fan who's got a little bit of perspective on this. And to me, that's all. I'm reading the tea leaves. I have no sources. You guys all know, I've done interviews with Shanahan. I've done interviews with Lynch. If I see them in the hallway at Levi's, I'll talk to both of them. I've got contacts within the organization, but I'm not citing sources. I'm just reading tea leaves. Nobody has told me anything. I'm just looking at what they've said and looking at kind of what they're saying about Darnold now, what they haven't said about Trey, what they have said about Brock, and looking at what they've said a little bit at the combine and what they said at the owners' meetings in Arizona, and I'm just reading the tea leaves. So no sources, not rooting for Trey to be traded at all. In fact, I really believe that Trey is going to be really, really good on the back end. So a 2 and a 4 to me sounds a little low. Now, what do I think is smart or makes sense? If you could move Trey in a deal and get in the back of the first round and get Michael Mayer, who I think is a lock. They call him Baby Gronk, short for Rob Gronkowski. I see the same thing. I see an awesome, tight end. I see a Pro Bowl caliber tight end. Guy's really, really good. I watch Notre Dame all the time. The guy he can move people in the run game. He can catch balls in the red zone. He's just a big time player. I mean, I think Michael Mayer's a blue chip tight end who's going to be a future Pro Bowler. So, if you could add a guy like that and, maybe have a 2 tight end set that's Mayer and Kittle, and you have McCaffrey and Mitchell and Ayuk and Debo and Jawan Jennings. I mean, man, it's go time. I mean, the Niners already have the highest over-under of any team in the NFL, but if they got Michael Mayer, I think Michael Mayer, and believe me, nothing with this rumor, of course, mentions Michael Mayer, and nothing even mentions the first round. They're talking about a 2 and a 4. But what I was projecting is, hey, maybe you move one of those 3s that you have and Trey, and maybe that gets you the 20th pick in the draft with, I don't know, the Commanders or whoever's picking right around there that needs a quarterback. And then who do you want? What's the difference maker player? Maybe it's an offensive tackle. Maybe it's Emmanuel Forbes, a shutdown corner. Maybe it's that. I'll tell you the other corner that's just awesome. I just really love him is the Illinois kid. Is it Witherspoon? No, what's his name? The Illinois corner that's going to go real high is tremendous. I haven't really done a deep dive studying him because I just fully assume that he's going to be gone when the 49ers pick. But guy is, every time I watched Illinois, Devin Witherspoon is the best player in the field. I watched Illinois 5 times this year. This guy was the best player on the field. So maybe you want a number 1 corner. I think at the top of this draft, Christian Gonzalez, Joey Porter Jr., Devin Witherspoon, Deonte Banks out of Maryland, and then Emmanuel Forbes out of Mississippi State. These guys are number 1s, man. These guys are shut down number 1 corners. So look what you're gonna have to beat Philly, right? You're gonna have to beat Philly. You're gonna be able to match up with Devontae Smith and AJ Brown with what you got on the corner, or do you need Devin Witherspoon? I think you may need Devin Witherspoon. You can be able to match up with those 2 wide receivers in Philly. You can be able to match up with Kansas City and Mahomes, and there's talk they're going to go get DeAndre Hopkins. What if KC gets DeAndre Hopkins? Going to match up with Demo Lenore and Charvarius? Maybe. But Emmanuel Forbes would sure help. No doubt in my mind about that. Devin Witherspoon would sure help. So that's what I'm picturing. Those are the corners that potentially could be there, at the end of round 1. As far as the tackles, Chris Johnson Jr. from Ohio State, 6'6", 313 pounds, probably going in the top 10. Probably can't get him. Peter Skoronski, though, from Northwestern, I think that's a very safe pick. Will he be there? Darnell Wright from Tennessee, 6'5", 330. He could be your right tackle for the next decade. Wright had some dominant games this year. Really dominant performances. He looks overpowering. So, if you have a real high grade on one of those top tackles, maybe you go that direction. As far as, the Niners are always thinking front 7. The guy that I did a video on, I was talking about Emmanuel Forbes, but I'm also talking about Isaiah Foskey, another Notre Dame kid, but he's a Bay Area guy. From Antioch, went to De La Salle, 6'5", 265, captain of that team. His best football's in the future. Foskey's big time. You put Foskey opposite Bosa, and you got something, man. That's that. You suddenly have a scary, scary front. The Foskey, Armstead, Hargrave, Bosa front 4 could wreak havoc and lead you to the Super Bowl and lead you to getting that 6th Lombardi. So, there's a lot of different ways to look at this, but to me, I guess, I'd want to get up and get Michael Mayer. It's a great tight end draft. Dalton Kincaid, Darnell Washington, Luke Musgraves, athletic, Sam Laporta, Zach Kuntz, Tucker Kraft. The Niners worked out the Alabama tight end, Latu. They worked out Brenton Strange, I think, from Penn State. Davis Allen looks nice. Payne Durham, Schoonmaker. There's a lot of good tight ends in this draft. There's a guy from Eastern Kentucky, Dakota Allen, as a late round guy. The Niners are supposedly sniffing around. If you former converted quarterback who had 25 reps at 225 at his pro day, coming off an injury, a leg injury, so he may go undrafted. He may be a late day 3 pick, but he looks exciting. 6'4", 250, and was a productive player, converted quarterback. His 25 reps at Eastern Kentucky's pro day would have been number 1 among all tight ends. So maybe they like a sleeper tight end. But to me, the one of the safest players in this entire draft is Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. He's 6'4.5", junior, about 260 pounds, went to Covington Catholic in Kentucky. Just guy's a big-time player. He was a semifinalist for the Mackey Award. He was on the Bolitnikoff watch list. I mean, he was an academic. He's an academic player as well, so he's smart. He's athletic. He's productive. This guy's a blue chipper. This guy's going to be a great player for the next 10 years. And he's a special player. So I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of it. I think that sounds about right. A 2 and a 4, a couple picks, one being a day 2 pick, one being a day 3 pick. If it was just Trey Lance straight up, as I said, I think I'd rather throw another pick in there and get high into the back of the first round, maybe 20 to 25 in that range, and grab Michael Mayer. If you do that, and now you've got, you can go get another quarterback to replace Trey, and you're going Brock and Darnold and a rookie quarterback, and you've got another weapon like a Michael Mayer, or you got a shutdown corner or dominant right tackle for the next decade, or some big. I'll tell you the other guy that I really, really love. The more I watch the players for the draft, is the other Byron Young. People have been talking up a lot about Byron Young. I saw Mayoko said, "Hey, how about Byron Young from Tennessee?" And Byron Young from Tennessee is a nice player. But he's 250 pounds, and the Niners typically go with their DNs. They want them bigger. They want like 270-pound guys. But Byron Young from Alabama, who's an interior rusher, he's 6'3", 295, but he's fast. I love Byron Young from Alabama. Now, I don't know where he's going to go. I've seen projections that he's going to go like 4th round or something like that. But man, the film I saw last night of Byron Young from Alabama, if that guy's there in the 4th round, I would be shocked, absolutely shocked. And this guy's a wrecker inside. He's 6'3", 295, and fast. And man, I know they got Hargrave and Armstead, and they're pretty loaded inside. But man, you can never have too many guys like Byron Young from Alabama. So I'm a big fan of his. But all I'm saying is this Trey Lance rumor, is there anything to it? I don't know. My guess would be no. My guess is that this is just, there's nothing substantial to this rumor. But as far as the price tag, a 2 and a 4, yeah, I think that sounds about right. And as I said, you look at this quarterback draft, I really like the day 1 quarterbacks, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, maybe even Hendon Hooker. I think those definitely 4, maybe 5 going round 1. But it's that next group that's super intriguing. Tanner McKee, Jake Hayner, Jaron Hall from BYU, didn't mention him. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Clayton Tune, Aiden O'Connell, Max Duggan, Malik Cunningham. That next group is really intriguing, and they're probably going to go around the 4th round. So a 2 and a 4 for Trey. It is interesting. I predicted a couple weeks ago they were going to move him, and so I can't say I'm surprised that I'm seeing this rumor. We'll see if it all shakes out. It is going to be, here we are, first week, going into the 2nd week in April. The draft coming up on the 27th. The next couple weeks are going to be riveting for Niner fans. All right, hope you enjoyed the 49er video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Check them out. Corte Madera, open 7 days a week. They're in Emeryville, open Wednesday through Sunday, the best barbecue in Northern California. And thank you very much to all of you for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.